So I knew once I started this series that I wanted to start it with characters that people probably didn't think about too much or probably didn't think were that interesting. And I knew what two characters I wanted to start off like completely before I got to the cool characters or the interesting characters that I thought had potential. So this is JSF. Welcome to Redesigning MK, and I'm going to explain how I see Meat in Mortal Kombat 11. Now, Meat is not the most interesting character, but I actually think if we look at his gameplay from the past and add some tweaks and some little twists and new ideas to it, I think he can actually be a really, really interesting character. So, but first, before I even get into all that, I want to talk a little bit about the lore of Meat. A little bit about his backstory, which isn't very complicated, and he doesn't have much of a backstory. But Meat is someone that Shang Tsung created, experimented on in the flesh pits, right? That's like his story. He escaped the flesh pits, and Shang Tsung created him. Well, I'll add a little bit more to his lore. He was actually the person Scarlet experimented on when she first got her blood magic powers. So some of what he can do has been affected by what Scarlet can do, right? So just keep that in mind. Just wanted to throw that little bit in there. But so let's get to Meat's moveset because I'm sure you have questions. In Mortal Kombat Armageddon, which is the only game where Meat actually had any unique moves, right? He's only been in MK4 and Armageddon. In MK4, he was just a character model swap with no original moves. So he had whoever's moves you picked last, right? But in Armageddon, he had his own moves, and his main fighting style was wrestling. So in this game, Meat is going to be a grappler, but not exactly like any other grappler. He's going to be a grappler with a gimmick to him, which we'll get to a little bit later. So I do want to start with his throws. His back throw will be his classic MK Armageddon back throw, where he tosses you by your arm. I believe it's a hip toss where he throws you to the other side. But then it has a second hit where he stabs you with his cleaver because Meat's weapons were obviously the meat cleavers. So the second part of the throw, he stabs you with the cleaver while you're down. And this actually has a crushing blow. You know the requirement. And pretty good Oki since he throws you right behind him and he's still right there. So this is a throw that could be looped, but you could die for going for that. His forward throw. Now, in MK Armageddon, Meat has this taunt, right? He has a taunt that regenerates his health. He grabs his eyeballs and pulls them out. It's weird, yeah. So there are no taunts in MK11. We know this, right? So his forward throw, he would do this to you. He grabs your eyeballs, yanks them, and then he kicks you away from him, right? So knocks you far back. But his forward throw would actually regenerate his health because of this, as a callback to his taunt, right? For his wake up up 2, I got him coming. Well, no, we'll do this first. So for his wake up 2, I have him, obviously get off the ground, taking his head off and like throwing his head upward, kind of like an underhanded basketball shot. I don't know if that doesn't make sense. I'll show a video so you know what I'm talking about. Where he tosses his head up in the air, and the arc isn't like straight up. It's more like Frost down back 3, so it'll actually hit something. And his wake up 3 is just his cleaver stab, kind of just like a bad version of Cabal's wake up. Now, I want to talk about some notable normals before I get to his specials. In Armageddon, he had this standing 3, which was a mid that just knocked you back, right? And he would still have this. It wouldn't be very fast, probably be like 14 frames with okay-ish range and be like -7 on block. Think of it like Baraka's forward 4-4. Think of it like that, but instead it's just this button, and it just knocks you back, kind of knocks you away from him, right? He also will have his face stab, which I'll show you guys, and it'll be his forward 2. It'll be like a shitty versions of Joker's forward 2, basically. Less range, a little more startup, but it'll be like slightly plus on block. That'll be the trade-off. And Meat as a character will not have any fast mids. He will not have overhead low 50-50s, really. He won't be great. And he's supposed to be this way, right? This is the design of the character that I'm going for. I don't want him to have amazing buttons. His like down 1, down 4, sweep are all going to be very basic, regular man sweep, like nothing crazy, right? We'll get to his crazy stuff later on, but he's going to seem very weak at first glance. That's how he's supposed to look. That's the idea with the character, right? We'll give him a back 2-2. where he actually takes his arm off and beats you over the head with it. Kind of like Swamp Thing's string from Injustice 2. I don't know if y'all remember. Sort of like Aaron Black's back too. But yeah, we'll give him that string. Gives you a good knockdown after that. And another notable normal I'll give him is Body Splash. He's a grappler, right? So he'll be a grappler, so I'm gonna give him a Body Splash. And not like Gears' Body Splash, it'll be more like our Mika's from Street Fighter. So it's more like a straight down dive. So he jumps and he like pauses in the air and just drops flat on you. And if it whiffs, well, we'll get to that later. So the gimmick with this character, which will make more sense once I go over his specials, is that he's meat, right? So meat is constant. Meat is this decaying, rotting corpse, right? That's what he looks like. So meat, his gimmick is that he is always losing health. Always. As soon as the match starts, his health starts depleting. Now, it's very, very slow and only a little bit of health, right? Less than 1% per tick, less than 1%. So it's not to the point that he's absolutely useless, but he's constantly dying because he's a decaying, rotting corpse. Cool. That's the downside. But the good side is he can do DOT in a lot of different ways. And the DOT with the grabs is where you're going to get to his strengths. So let's talk about his specials. First off, we have the head roll, right? And there's one more gimmick I got to talk about. We'll get to it. So first off, we have the head roll, from Armageddon. Not really a great projectile. It's a low, but so what? It's got a lot of startup and a lot of recovery. You can jump over it if you see it coming. Whoop-de-doo, not great, right? Why would you do that move? We'll get to it later. He has a regular command grab, a regular high command grab, and it'll be like the backbreaker like he used to have. Only difference is he can EX this command grab and gain some health back. He also still has his blood slide, which is just like a shitty version of Sub-Zero slide, right? It's a little bit more startup. It's worse on block. There is no EX version of it, and it doesn't travel as far. It sounds terrible, but I promise there's a reason to use this move. I just want to go through all these moves first. His blood teleport, where it's just like he falls back and teleports. That just is what that is. It's like a teleport cancel, but not as good as Scorpion's. We got the cleaver toss. So the cleaver toss, where he throws a meat cleaver, it'll be like a noob side sickle toss, where he throws it up in the air and at a different range. And it's not the best projectile in the world, but if this projectile hits, it will do bleed damage. So it will make them bleed. That's the upside to it. We got an anti-air grab. And kind of like Shiva's anti-air grab, and if you land the anti-air grab and EX it, you also regenerate some health. He has a low command grab as well. His low command grab is his only launcher. It's his only launcher. It's not like a traditional launcher. It's not like you can combo into it off anything. No, you just do the low launcher and that's your combo. Like all your strings will not combo into it. It'll be like that. Like if they're, how do you say? It'll work like Shiva's. Let's do that to make it simple. I don't want to make anyone confused. So yeah, those are all of his special moves. And if they sound bad, is because I left something out. So the whole gimmick with Meat, aside from him losing health and regaining health, is Meat can put blood all over the stage. He can put blood on the ground, right? And if you're standing in the blood on the ground, you take bleed damage as well. So if he does a move to you that has bleed damage and you're standing on the blood, you'll take a little bit more bleed damage. So his head roll, like I said, right? Where he rolls his head on the ground like a bowling pin, and it's got startup, got recovery, you can literally just jump over it. But if you just jump and avoid it, that's just more blood on the stage, because if it leaves a trail of blood behind him, right? So what you would want to do is actually dash up and block this move. So the blood doesn't go all over the stage, right? The same with his slide. His slide is bad. It's not as fast as Sub-Zero. It doesn't go as far. It's more unsafe. You don't want to hit with this move. You want to whiff this move. You want to do the slide if you're like far away and put the blood on the screen. That's more the point of this move. Now you can use it to hit. It is a low slide, but that's the point of it, right? And like I said, he doesn't have 50-50s, but he does have that one string with some overheads, and he does have a couple low specials, right? The same with the teleport, right? But the teleport leaves two specific blood puddles. It leaves the one where he started from and the one where he goes to, right? So it leaves that. So with these type of special moves, he leaves blood all over the screen, and it doesn't stay forever, right? It goes away. Think of it like Aaron Black's acid. Like I do this, and now there's blood right here on the screen. So if you step into this, you step into the DOT, right? And again, remember, Meat is also always taking damage. So he has one more special move that I didn't mention, and that move will be Decay. So it'll be like Noxious Reptile. I don't know if you remember his poisonous gas move, where he activates it and then he just does way more DOT if he's next to you. Meat will have a move like this, but the catch is it'll do more damage to him as well. So it'll make him do DOT if he's standing next to you, but it'll also like double or triple the amount of DOT he naturally takes. So if he does this move, it's kind of like a desperation move, a closeout move. So you'll take your health all the way down, and you'll take their health you'll just to take their health down, if that makes sense. So yeah, that's what I have for his moveset. He'll be like I said, a grab based character. He doesn't have fast mids. He's got a decent mid, but it's slow. Like it's probably 13, 14 frames. He's got the face stab, which is a high, would be plus. But then he has low specials, right? Then he has the low command grab, right? So he'll have some things, and like I said, he has some ways to regenerate his health, so he doesn't just always die easily, faster than everybody else, and he doesn't have more health than anybody or anything like that, right? But those will be most of them. His down two will be like Night Wolf's. He just has a cleaver, down two. His down two will be kind of slow though, on the slower side, and then he'll have his command grab or his anti-air grab as well. I don't want to give him an amazing down two and an anti-air grab. Then his anti-air game will just be nuts. But yeah. Then I have for his fatal blow. So it'll be like Night Wolf's 2-2 grab string, where he just dives and tackles you, except that he'll just do it, right? He'll do it even on whiff. He just whiffs a dive, like it's like Bone Picker Baraka's dive. It'll be like that, right? And if it whiffs, he's very punishable. If it's blocked, he's very punishable. But once he goes into his fatal blow, he dives on you, then he pulls out the cleavers and just like chops up your whole stomach. That'll be like the first part of it. The second part, he does like a bear hug and like cracks your back type of shit. And then he does a cleaver toss, throws it across the stage, and turns and slides you all the way up to it, so your head like slides up into the cleaver. I hope that makes sense. It's like a slip and slide. He just slides you up into your head runs into the meat cleaver and you're bleeding. And this is important because that slide puts blood on the stage. So if he lands fatal blow, he side switches, he throws you, down the stage, and there's a trail of blood behind you, and y'all know the blood does DOT. So I think Meat would be interesting. A lot of crazy kooky blood stuff. I don't know. This is just what I thought of in my own bread. But let's get to fatalities. I was going to say fatal blows again. Fatality 1, he spits blood in your, the screen darkens and all that. He spits blood in your face, then like kicks you on the ground, rips your leg off, and is about to like beat you, like Quan Chi's old fatality. Then he throws your leg back, rips his own arm off, and beats you to death with that instead. So it's like a funny callback to Quan Chi's old fatality where he beats you to death with your own leg, except that he uses his arm instead. Fatality 2, he throws the cleavers at both of your shoulders, then slides at you like a penguin. You flip over, you land on your back, and as you're landing on your back, and like he jumps all the way in the air and does the body splash and splashes right on top of you, and your fucking whole insides explode like Shiva Stomp fatality. It'll be like that, and that'll be like the picture perfect freeze frame part of it. Then for his friendship, he does the head roll, but instead it doesn't hit you, it goes past you, knocks down a bunch of bowling pins, and he gets a 300 bowling game. He's running around cheering, then his arm falls off while he's cheering, and that kind of thing. You know how the friendships keep going for a while. So it's like Meat bowls a 300, he's all happy, he's got his arms up, then one falls off, he looks down at it like he's kind of sad, then just raises the other arm and just kind of keeps cheering. He's just sitting there doing dance moves. He's doing the worm and leaving blood splatters all over the stage. And this is just like if you sit here and watch it for 5 minutes. But anyway, that's what I got for Meat, man. I think he sounds kind of cool, kind of interesting. Sounds kind of fucking broken, but I think it can be balanced out if you do the DOT right and the DOT to get him right and all that kind of stuff. But let me know what y'all think. Do y'all enjoy this video? I think the next one I'll do a character that's actually cool. But I wanted to start with these two characters because I figured they'd be the hardest. So anyway, let me know if y'all got suggestions for new characters for redesigning MK. I've been JSF. Subscribe if y'all like the content. Stay safe. I'm outie. Peace.